Everyone, welcome into a special edition of the Georgia-Alabama Sports Live coverage. It is Beyond the Sidelines with Hughston Clinic, and I am with Dr. Jake Gudger. Thank you so much for allowing us to be here.
Thank you for having me. Thank
yes,
you.
sir. We are here live from the Hughston Foundation Library. Beautiful setup here, and Dr. Gudger, thank you so much for carving out time in your busy schedule to do this. And we're going to try to do this once a month to kind of get behind the scenes on what happens, especially with injuries and how kids can overcome it, and many other topics of conversation. But first, Dr. Gudger, what I always like to do is I want you to tell your story. Instead of me asking you 20 questions, I'm just going to let you have the floor, and no one tells your story better than yourself. So where are you from, and what ultimately led you to where you're at now?
Sure. So I'm Dr. Gudger here at the Hughston Clinic. Grew up here in Columbus. Went to high school at Brookstone High School. Played football, basketball, and baseball in high school for them. Went to medical school, undergrad at Georgia, medical school at Mercer University. Graduated from medical school from Mercer. Came back here to Columbus after doing my orthopedic residency in Greenville, South Carolina.
Okay.
My dad was in practice here and had the opportunity to come back home, practice with him for a few years before he retired. And that's how we ended up back in Columbus. We've been back for 9 years.
Wow.
We love being back home. I've got a wife, 4 kids. We're busy with work and family for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you may mention about your dad, a legendary doctor around here. He was actually my doctor when I had injuries when I was in the 6th grade and in the 9th grade. How big of an influence did he have on your life to become a doctor, man?
He was a huge influence. I got, growing up, obviously I was around orthopedics, around sports medicine.
Right.
He covered high school football teams, as I'm doing now. I would go to those high school games with him, stand on the sidelines. So that was a huge influence to me in terms of sort of knowing I always wanted to do orthopedics. He never sort of forced me to do it by any means, but it's always something I wanted to do. But seeing his sort of leadership and guidance helped sort of mold my path for sure.
Yeah, and you talk about the schooling part of it. How difficult was that to go through the many years and the many different things and obstacles?
Everybody wants to know how long it takes.
Right.
And it's like, well, it's 4 years of high school, 4 years of college, 4 years of medical school, 5 years of residency, and another year of fellowship, which I did come back here and did a fellowship in sports and total joints here. And it just seems like you get to one hurdle and then you get over another hurdle and then you get to that hurdle and you get over another hurdle.
Right.
But eventually you make it and start practice, and then it's a whole new set of hurdles.
No doubt. Talk about Hughston.
All good, though.
Right. But let's talk about the Hughston Clinic, because this is where your dad was having his practice and it's where you came in. Why is this place so special, and why have you called it home for all these years?
The Hughston Clinic has been around. We just celebrated our 75th anniversary. Founded by Dr. Hughston. He was the original founder of sports medicine.
No doubt.
And sort of what we're here to talk about is sports and team physicians and stuff like that. He was essentially the first sideline physician on the sidelines, taking care of athletes, taking care of acute injuries. And the main reason for that is somebody gets hurt on the field, you can diagnose their injury like that most of the time, versus when they see you in the office 3 or 4 days later, things are swollen, you can't get a good exam, etc.
Right.
You can examine them on the field, and most of the time you know exactly what's going on. So that was sort of the past, and we've had a great group of physicians that have been here for many years, and just trying to carry on that tradition in terms of doing good work, taking care of patients,
No doubt.
taking care of local high schools, taking care of the kids. And I think that was all instilled initially by Dr. Hughston, and I think we have a good group of young guys coming along to carry on that tradition.
Let's go into detail about team physician. You just made mention of that. What does that entail? What was the sole purpose of that in the vision of Dr. Hughston, as you made mention, and what it's turned into today?
Yeah, so initially it was like I said, Dr. Hughston had the vision to know if you're on the sidelines, somebody gets hurt, you immediately see them, they tear their ACL, they tear their anterior cruciate ligament. You can go out there, you get a good exam, you know exactly what's going on without having to get an MRI, without having to get other tests, stuff like that. And versus somebody gets hurt, they come to your office a week later, they're swollen, they hurt, they don't want to do anything, you can't get a good clear exam. So that was the initial sort of driving force behind that in terms of being able to diagnose somebody acutely. If they need surgery, do surgery. If they get them in a non-operative, you can get them in a non-operative rehab program, et cetera. The team physician has evolved over the years, and it's gotten very big, and especially at the higher has evolved over the years, and it's gotten very big, and especially at the higher levels in terms of the collegiate level and the NFL level. But the Hughston Clinic covers all of the Muskogee County high schools. We cover Brookstone, we cover Smith Station, Central, and Lamar County and Barnesville. So we have an athletic trainer at all of those locations who take care of all the sports. Obviously, being the fall right now, football is a major sport in terms of how physical it is. And so football's sort of takes sort of the top priority in the fall, although the trainers are taking care of the softball players, they're taking care of the volleyball players, et cetera. And the trainers are sort of the boots on the ground. I mean, they're the ones who are in day-to-day operations. They're taking care of the kids. They're icing, they're wrapping, they're initially evaluating them. And then as the team doctor, we're there to, if he escalates that up, we see him in the office. I go to the school and see him. I'm there on Friday nights on the sidelines to be able to diagnose and try to guide treatment.
Right.
Whether we think it needs an X-ray, whether we think it needs an MRI, whether we think it needs surgery, et cetera.
Right.
But try to stay in close communication with the coaches. Sometimes the coaches don't like your decision.
I was going to ask, how difficult is that, Dr. Gudger, when you got the coaches not want to lose their best player? Their best player, this may be their senior year. They don't want to hear that they're having a long-term injury. So you don't want to lie to them. How difficult is that process?
It's tough. It's tough, and the best thing is just to be honest. And there's some injuries that, sure, we can try to brace you. We can try to play you.
Right.
You know, especially if your senior year, you don't have plans to go on to the next level. Let's see if we can get through it. And if you can go, you can go. There's some other injuries that we know you do not need to play. You need to either treat it non-operatively, rehab it, or you need a surgery for it, and you just have to be honest with them. And you've got to do what's best for the player.
No doubt.
Even though that's tough to hear, sometimes the coaches upset about it, the fans are upset about it. You've got to do what's best for the player and their long-term health.
All right, let's talk about some of those common football injuries, because on Saturday, by the way, they have a morning clinic here. It starts at 8:30 in the morning, and it goes all the way through November. So if you want to come in and get evaluated, if you got an injury, come by the morning clinic at 8:30 a.m. on Saturdays. What are some common football injuries that you're used to? We'll talk about concussions. That's a whole nother thing. That's its own entity. Let's talk about other common injuries. A
lot of sprains and strains, a lot of ankle sprains, et cetera. We do see a lot of ligament injuries, ACL ligament injuries being primarily one of them. Broken bones, usually sort of feet, hands, arms, stuff like that. Dislocations, usually shoulder dislocations, here and there.
Right.
But those are usually the major ones.
Yeah, and there's nothing more nagging. And I got to ask you, man, and this is something that has been I don't know if it's a debate, but a conversation. Would you rather break your ankle or have a bad sprain? Because it seems like sprains, you always think you're not too bad, so you want to come back a little sooner than later. Is it better just to have it broken, or the bad sprain that lasts the entire year?
That's tough to say. Depending on the degree of the sprain, yes, it can be nagging, it can swell, it can hurt, it can bother you for a long time. And usually that's a ligamentous injury that we usually treat non-operatively. The broken bone, you usually don't tear the ligament, you buck the bone, we fix it, and 6 to 8 weeks, you're sort of healed and back ready to go. So that's sort of tough, but with the broken bone, you're definitely out. With the sprain, we usually can rehab you, we can tape you, and you can play.
Yeah, but then if you play, you could take a chance of harming it even further, but you feel like it's not broken, so hey, let me go give it a shot. You know what I mean? So it's always a tough conversation to have, especially with a young athlete. How do you help young athletes make that right decision in trying to convince them? Is it, if you want to play in the future, this is what you got to do? If you're willing to worry about just right now, this is what you can do? Is that how you break it down?
I mainly look at where they are in high school.
Right.
You know, if you've got a freshman with an injury and he's got 3 more years to play, and it's something we don't, or needs a surgery, I would tell you, you're out. Do your surgery. You've got 3 more years to play.
Gotcha.
Okay. Just like I said, so like if it's a senior who tore his ACL, he's going to need a surgery on it. And if he's not planning on playing at the next level in college, sure, we can rehab you, brace you, ACL brace, depending on your position, stuff like that, and see if you can get through your senior year, and we fix you after that.
Yeah.
So I think you have to take all those into account in terms of operative versus non-operative treatment.
No doubt.
For some injuries. I mean, there's some injuries that just need a surgery and need to be fixed and move on.
Right.
There's some things that we completely treat non-operatively and try to get back. But I think a lot of it too is looking at the next level. If you have the potential to play at the next level in college, I think you have to look at, all right, is this that important now versus this is my potential here? And so it's not a cookie cutter solution for everybody by any means. You have to take each individual athlete, look at where they are in high school, look at where they are moving forward, look at their injury specifically, and then make a decision, an informed decision, and give them their options with their family, and go from there.
No doubt about it. We are with Dr. Jake Gudger here at Hughston Clinic. It's Beyond the Sidelines with Hughston Clinic. We look forward to doing this every single month. What we're going to do is we'll take a quick break. We got some other topics, including concussion protocols. That is a hot topic of conversation. We also talked about off air, and I cannot wait for you to enlighten our community about single sport athletes, and specifically worrying about one sport, especially at an early age. Is that detrimental to the development? We'll find out more here on Beyond the Sidelines, Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
Imagine a life-changing injury. Imagine the fear and unknown. The Hughston Clinic Sports Medicine Team, the only physicians in the area with advanced certification in orthopedic sports medicine, treats sports injuries with innovative techniques. The Hughston Clinic has helped nearly 1 million athletes live without pain. Imagine getting back in the game. Imagine the best game of your life. The Hughston Clinic Sports Medicine Team.
Welcome back here to Beyond the Sidelines with Hughston Clinic, and I am with Dr. Jake Gudger. I'm having a lot of fun with him. Brooks Stone, All-American, baseball, basketball, football player back in the day, and now he is helping athletes achieve their dream, man. Thank you so much again for giving us your time and your busy schedule, helping athletes and people of all makes and kinds and cultures come here because of this world-class facility at Hughston Clinic. We talked about concussions before the break. Mm-hmm. We were saying off air, I put in my notes, prevention and protocol, but in football, it's really hard to prevent head-to-head.
Correct.
So I think the better question is, what do you do once that happens? So if I got hit in the head and I'm starting look a little bit woozy, what are the first things you do to see if he's got concussion? And then what are the procedures afterwards once you diagnose him?
So the trainer is going to be the first guy on the scene to see this kid. And that's why you're sort of watching the whole time, because these kids may not come up to you and say, hey, my head hurts, or hey, I don't know where I am, or I'm ringing in my ears, or I'm foggy, I can't see straight. You may notice, the special teams goes out there to kick a field goal, and this guy's running down the other end. He hears field goal team, but he knows it goes somewhere, but he doesn't know where to go. And I can tell you that from experience because I had that happen to me.
It was just instinct, wasn't it, man?
It was. Yeah, your punt team, and I'm running out there. I couldn't find my spot. I couldn't line up. Had a concussion, but the trainer's usually good at recognizing that. And most of the kids these days, if their head's hurting or anything like that, or they take a big lick, trainer comes over, say, "Your head okay?" And the biggest thing you have to do is make sure it's a concussion and not anything else in terms of a brain bleed or anything like that.
How can you tell if it's a brain bleed?
Well, not specifically, but if somebody's got like an epidural, if the kid gets knocked out and is unconscious on the field, that's an ambulance trip to the hospital immediately. But most of these kids are going to come off and my head hurts, or hey, I don't feel right, or I'm woozy, and all of our athletic trainers use the SWAY test, SWAY. It's all on the phone, and there's some cognitive questions to ask and some balance things to do, and then you put them in the phone, and it gives you a score immediately.
Wow.
And you know where we're at immediately. It documents those scores. Most of the time, they don't pass it in terms of concussion, so they're out. Okay.
No ifs, ands, buts about it.
no.
If that test says they have a concussion, you're telling the coach.
And even if they're out, and even if you suspect it, you don't have the exact test on your phone. You ask a few mini mental status questions of where we are,
Right.
what year is it, who's the president, et cetera. They can't answer those. They're out. If you even suspect a concussion, you got it. You're out. It's just too risky in terms of putting them back in, and they have a concussion, then they get a hit again, and that's detrimental on the brain.
All right. Once they have that, what's the next steps?
So they enter a concussion protocol, and the first 24 to 48 hours is rest, physical rest, mental rest, no lights. I mean, sunglasses if you're really light intolerant, and a lot of people with concussions will be light intolerant.
Right.
Like these lights here, or even lights in your bedroom, dark, quiet room, no music, no video games, no TV. You treat their headaches with Tylenol, ibuprofen, stuff like that. And then as their symptoms get better, you could advance it to a little light aerobic exercise, stuff like that. We have a stepwise protocol, and
Right.
I apologize, I can't remember each one of the specific steps, but early on it's the light aerobic exercise, and so you get out there, jog a little bit, you get a headache, you got to go back a step. You've got to be symptomatic for 24 hours, asymptomatic for about 24 hours without any medications or anything in terms of your headaches to advance to the next step.
Yep.
If you get back and increase your activity, symptoms come back, light intolerance, headache, fatigue, stuff like that, you go back. And so some people can get back pretty quickly, just depending on the degree
Right.
of the concussion. And some people, it takes a little while, but it's not until you pass all those steps of the protocol that we'll let you return to play.
Oh, I love that, and I love that you're giving great information to parents out there that make sure you help your kids. Sometimes you got to help them help themselves,
Right.
Because if not, they can put themselves in danger. So I'm glad we were able to talk about that.
Initially, it's really physical and mental rest.
No doubt.
In terms of no screen time.
I was going to ask phones, and
no
that hurts it too,
phones.
doesn't it?
Yeah, no scrolling, no social media. It just really needs to be physical and mental rest initially.
All right, let's talk about the preparation, not just for football, but for any athlete. Let's say your daughter plays softball, and it's hot outside. I mean, I know the fall's coming back a little bit, but it's been really hot during the August month. You got volleyball going on. You got flag. You got cross country, a lot of sports right now. What are in athletic conditioning? How do they prepare to take care of themselves in terms of drinking water and everything else?
Yeah, and I think conditioning is huge here where we are in the South in Columbus, Georgia, just because of the heat, especially during the summer. Kids are practicing all summer. My daughter started softball. Her first game was before school even started, and all, football starts. It's hot. It may be September, but it's still hot.
No doubt.
And the biggest thing these kids can do is hydrate. And that doesn't mean drinking a bottle of water before the game on Friday night,
Right.
drinking a gallon of pickle juice before the game. That does nothing. You are behind the curve. You have to start beginning of the week, and you have to be drinking water every day, every day, every day.
Right.
We see cramps all the time, especially this time of year with it being hot. People start cramping third, fourth quarter, and it's just from dehydration. And so that's the biggest thing. I think in terms of the practices and everything, I think the coaches do a good job nowadays, as opposed to sort of when me and you played.
No doubt.
In terms of water breaks and stuff like that, we know what to do and what you need during the practices. But even that's not enough. You got to be drinking water at school. You got to be drinking water at home, and leading up to the game, because if you're trying to do it at game time, you're too late.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And speaking of game time, we're going to have a few more questions here, and one of them being single sport athletes.
Right.
It seems like they're being pushed, especially I'm talking about from ages 5 to about 12, 15, to go into one sport and treat them like they're professionals. I was talking about this today on my morning radio show. I don't understand parents that are telling their kids like and treating them like they're professional athletes, training and practicing 24/7 year round. That sounds miserable if I'm a kid. It's not even being able to enjoy the imagination of what is being a kid. So what is your thought process on not just at a young age, but in high school on not being a single sport athlete? And does it hurt their development when they focus on one sport at such an early age?
I think it does hurt their development. I think we see a lot more injuries. That's why you've had to come out with pitch counts. Dr. Andrews, who trained here with Dr. Hughston, was very instrumental in that years ago in terms of pitch counts. You know, you had kids in the Little League throwing 100, 200 pitches, and now we've got a certain pitch count because of their arms. But I see kids every week that come in with shoulder pain who play baseball, and they play baseball year-round. They're on a travel ball team. They're practicing 6 days a week. They're going to a tournament every week, and they want to know why their arm hurts. Well, it's because you're using it too much, and it's an overuse injury, and they don't. And usually you back off and you let them rest, and they get better. And it depends on where they are in their developmental stage. But a lot of these kids, like you said, are 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old who still have a lot of growing to go left. And it's just too much. When back in the day, when we played, most people, you played football in the fall, or they played basketball in the winter, or you played baseball in the spring. And you could do that, and you didn't see the injuries, mainly because all those sports use different motions, all those sports use different muscles, all those sports use different activities, etc. And so it gives your shoulder a break from throwing, while you're running the football or dribbling the basketball or shooting the basketball. And so we're just seeing more and more overuse stuff, mainly because nobody's getting them rest. It's constant year round. And I've got 4 girls at home who play softball. We're not doing travel softball just because I think they need to branch out and do other stuff. And I've got 2 of them. They also play basketball. One of them plays soccer. The other 2 just have played softball, but they play it in the spring and the fall. They take a break during the winter. So you need a break. And the other thing, just like you talked about from a kid's standpoint, a lot of these kids love it, and they love it, and they love it, and they love it. And then at some point, they don't love it.
And it burns out.
And they do. And you see that sort of early high school, middle high school. It's just, I've had enough. I've been playing baseball year-round for 10 years now, and I've had enough.
That love goes away. And that's the scary part. It's like you're losing the passion and the love of the game, and that's where it's supposed to be built at a young age, not the training and working like you're a professional. That's the part where you're supposed to have fun, and then you start specializing in it. If that ends up being the sport you choose to be specific in. So you heard that, parents. Do not be specific right now. Let your kid play everything, try everything, try arts, try anything, right? And being able to do music, whatever it may be well-rounded. I know that's what your dad probably preached too.
Yeah, it is, and I think it's good for them. I think it's good for their mental development, social development, their athletic development. It's good for them. And some kids love it. Some kids want to keep doing it, and that's okay. But you got to take a break at some time to let your body rest.
All right. Finally, this is your message to young and upcoming high school students that maybe want to do and make a difference like you do with young athletes and want to be a doctor. What's your advice to them right now if they want to take the path that you and your dad did?
I would tell you the first thing you do is keep your grades up. You keep your grades up, middle school, high school, go to college. You can do whatever you want to do. In terms of being interested in orthopedics, get with your trainers at school. Trainers love the extra help. If you have interest in that, you can go to the training room with them, get experience on the field, find your team doctor on the field. If they come to the games, talk to them. I have kids, high school kids, come and shadow me in the clinic, come and shadow me in the operating room. We have that all the time. We have programs here at the foundation where you can come participate in, et cetera. So just get involved if you're interested in it. We're very open to people coming and working in the clinic with us, coming in the operating room to shadow, being on the sidelines with us, and see if you get a feel for it, to see if you like it.
Well, you've been very open with us, man. I appreciate you, Dr. Gudger.
Absolutely, and thank you for having me.
Times.
This has been, I didn't know what to expect of this, but this has been very interesting, and I've enjoyed it.
Yeah. Educate, enlighten, have fun. And that's exactly what we did here today. Don't forget, every Saturday morning, they have their injury clinic from 8:30 to 10 all the way until the end of October. November 1st is the last one. So if you got any injuries, come here on Saturday morning.
That's free.
Free for anyone to come in, let them see your injury. This is their way of giving back, and this is why it was so crucial. And it was a no-brainer for us to partner with Hughston Clinic. And we want to say thank y'all so much for what you do for us and what you do for the community. This is the first episode of many Beyond the Sidelines with Hughston Clinic. That is Dr. Jake Gudger. I'm Thrift Barringer. We'll see you next time on Georgia Alabama Sports Live.